Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just Hangouts, the official podcast of Just Nerds, where you can just hang with us and listen to us talk about movies, TV shows, games, and really whatever we find interesting. I am Jonathan, and I am hosting today's episode of Just Hangouts. And with me today, as always, is my co-host, Blake.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to be back. Just want to make a little apology. I'm a little sick. I'm just getting over a kind of a cold, so hopefully I don't sound too nasally or cough a lot, but just pardon me if I do. So, glad to be here, though. Glad to be back.
How do you feel?
I feel a lot better. There's something kind of like fun, but also horrible about being sick, because on one hand, you kind of get to just chill and relax and like eat soup and just play a lot of video games and watch a lot of shows and stuff like that. But on the other hand, you just feel awful, so you can't really even enjoy the video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on one hand, you also get like super frustrated with like the things you wouldn't get frustrated normally if you weren't sick. Mm-hmm. If I can transition into something, I was playing Ratchet and Clank, the original PlayStation 2 version, on the collection for PS3, and towards the end of that game, they start having you like just go to a different planet to get like one thing you need to get to another, like to get to the next point in the story kind of thing. Like, for example, like I'm at the point where like there's a ship, but if you don't have the right helmet, you can't pilot the ship. So now you have to go to a completely separate planet. Then you have to get the ship, and once you get the ship, you can get the helmet that lets you go to another planet. And I'm like, so I'm sick, and I'm playing this. I'm like, dude, this game freaking sucks. Why the heck does everybody like this game? This keeps having you go back and forth. But now that I'm getting better, I'm like, that's all right. I mean, it's good. Like, I just thought it was funny. So, but I mean, I don't know. I think I get easily frustrated with certain things. That happened to me with Spiderman too, where I was playing Spiderman for PS4. I got a little frustrated with something. I can't remember which specific thing it was.
But that game is so good.
No, I like that game. That game's actually really good. I don't have any complaints on like the swinging or the music or the presentation. Like, I've had no issues with that game. If the only thing I'm not probably because I'm just terrible at it, is the combat. Just because like a lot of it's more focused on dodging as opposed to like, I don't know, something I guess in the same realm as like Batman the Arkham series, where it's like punch and counter. Spider-Man's more like punch and dodge, kind of like. Well, there's no real counter. Like, it's kind of like.
Isn't there a counter punch?
No. I'm not, as far as I'm.
Oh,
maybe
no, you're right. I
mean,
yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I do see what you mean. Yeah. No, I totally forgot that. Yeah. I mean, I think the counter button has always just been like, oh, you punch a counter for Arkham.
Yeah.
And that's what I like more about Spider-Man. It's more like it keeps you on your toes more, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I think that's the reason I'm so bad at it, because like, you know, like for example, the big guys, like the Kingpin-sized guys that you have to fight every now and then, those guys suck because they just keep freaking swinging. So you just have to keep mashing O. But I'm so tempted because, like, I just want to hit them. You know what I mean?
You gotta whip them up, man. Just gotta whip them up.
No, I know. And I figured that out after I don't know how many freaking deaths. God. I'm so bad. I'm terrible at the combat.
Dude. All right.
But it's fun. Like, doing all the, like, I think one of the favorite things I like to do is the first upgrade I got, or one of the first few upgrades I got, was doing the tricks in midair to get experience.
Yes.
So I was all like, oh my gosh, I know what I can do. So I just climbed to the highest building like around me, and I just jumped off and kept doing flips, like grinding XP. I'm like, this is the most fun grinding I've ever done in my life. I don't know. I think that's one of the greatest additions in that game, is the ability to do tricks and basically like get stronger because of it. Like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So, but I'm like, haven't checked my percentage yet, but I can't remember what it is, but I think I'm like 50% done, 60% done, something like that.
But you're really enjoying it.
I am loving that game. The introduction is probably one of the greatest introductions in
Dude,
video game history.
yes, I had the biggest smile on my face when it happened. I was like, oh my god, like this is the greatest game ever made.
Yeah, like it's up there with like
It's a great intro.
Uncharted 2. It's up there with Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, where you got the freaking city escape.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an amazing. It's up there as one of my favorite video game introduction levels.
Yeah, it just has such a high energy when it
Yeah.
starts. Not like, okay, well, try. It does do that, but like in a fast paced kind of way. Like, oh, hit this guy. Oh, and you can do web shooters. It's like, boom, you're jumping through the window, you're swinging. There's a helicopter you're chasing after right now to go find the police.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
No,
great.
it's fantastic, honestly. But anyways, I guess enough about me for a second. So what have you been playing and watching stuff like that?
I want to talk a little bit more about Spider-Man.
Oh, then let's keep going.
That's okay.
I
wanted you to talk about your feelings.
No. I just didn't want to be rude as long as I'm not.
I didn't want to be rude either, but you know that's something to work on. It's been a little bit. A little bit.
But
no, I totally feel you about the like the combat with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I think this is just me living like. I think I've talked to you about this, like the Arkham games, and they kind of like, you know, those are great games, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's still interesting because people really praise the combat of those games.
Yeah.
And the combat's great, but like everybody describes it in a way that, oh dude, like the combat's so revolutionary, and I'm like, I mean,
it's not.
when it comes down, like there are enemies that you dodge and then you hit, but it's really punch and counter.
Yeah, no,
like,
for sure.
It's a fun, simplistic, and like when you get the combos up, you really feel it. And you know there are other things I'm not taking away from the combat, but it's mainly the square and triangle. And like I remember when some of the older, or not, I guess older now, but like some of the older Spider-Man games are coming out, like Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time, and playing those games, I remember thinking, well, this is like the older Spider-Man games, like Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Web of Shadows, but just, you know, newer. But like every review, people said, oh, this is just like the Arkham combat, just in Spider-Man. Like, well, the combat's been like this for years. Like, Batman, I would say, perfected that kind of combat, but Spider-Man's been doing that for years.
Yeah.
And,
no, I'm 100% with you. I remember Web of Shadows vividly. Web of Shadows had like a really simple combat system, but it was also like, if I remember correctly, like there was like, because you could do like, it was punch and counter for to some degree, but there was like, it was kind of also to like some degree like a 3D beat 'em up, where you had like combo structure and stuff like that. Whereas in Batman, it's like, keep mashing square. Oh, someone's got a headlight on you, or someone has the counter icon above their head. Mash triangle. Go back to mashing square, or like kind of tap to repeat it. Yeah. So like, I remember hearing about that, and I'm like, I don't think that's something that like, I don't know. I remember hearing that like about the newer Spider-Man games of being like, I mean, it's just combat. Like they both have to fight people fist to fist. It's not like, you know, it's not like, I don't know, like it's not like Superman or Iron Man where you get to shoot people. It's they don't do that. Like both those characters they don't do that. That's not how they really work. But I think PS4 Spider-Man is probably the most authentic combat system we've ever gotten to the character, because of like how integrated his like his webs are, integrated his throwing stuff is, like juggling opponents in the air is like,
it feels like the best thing ever.
Yeah, kicking them off of freaking skyscrapers, and then like it's I would put it better, if not equal to the same feeling I get when you stun an opponent in Batman Arkham games. Because in those games, when you stun them, you just keep mashing square, and Batman just freaking pummels the crap out of them. Yeah, I don't know why, but like I just always thought that was like, that was just so fun. Like, so I love both those feelings. But that's the thing though, is like, I feel like I'm not comparing the two. Oh yeah. Because I don't think it's fair to compare the two, because Batman's is such an insanely simple like combat structure. It's you can get away in that game just hitting square, and then occasionally some guys have shields, and you're like, oh, okay, well, stun the guy, then jump on his shield and kick him in the head. Whereas Spider-Man's kind of the same thing, but like more diversity. You know what I mean? Like how you integrate webs and like which
really,
webs you
No, saying you really can't just get away with hitting square because you will die.
Yeah, especially against like the whip guys and the sword guys who just dodge your every attack. So you can't hit them. You know, you have to try a little harder on that. But in Batman, you can integrate his gadgets, but his gadgets are like some of them are like kind of pointless to integrate because they do the same thing. Like you have like the electric shock blast.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing as the Batarang. The only difference is that if you hit somebody with a shock, they have a chance. If they're in a group, if they're holding a weapon, they can accidentally hit another guy. But that's not gonna. You're not gonna be thinking about that when you're, when you're playing the game. I mean, you got the grappling hook and stuff like that to bring guys closer to you. You can pick up their weapons and hit them, which I kind of wish Spider-Man did, but he doesn't. But I was like, I don't really. That's not Spider-Man. Like I'm more happy picking up freaking manhole covers and just launching them at guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's great. Like one time I chucked one at some guy and he went flying. I'm like that probably killed him. Like I was like,
he attached webs to their backs so they hit the
the manhole covers are heavy, dude. Like they're like I hit some guy and I'm like I think I just killed him, man. Like, but I mean shoot. So I mean like it's similar enough to where I feel like you can like kind of compare and contrast the two, but I also think that like they're different enough to where it's like you're not gonna I don't think you can be like, oh well, it's just the same thing. It's like it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
little different things here.
I remember people in a lot of reviews, not everyone, but people again were comparing the two systems, and maybe this is just me and my Spider-Man fanboyisms, but I don't know. I feel like the combat is a lot more satisfying to me. I think the reason for that is like the speed that you can do everything in.
Yeah.
The flow in that game when you really get going, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like the first Kingpin, what is it like, base? You know where you fight just a bunch of enemies.
Yeah.
Just going through all my gadgets, like webbing them to trucks, and then doing the like your special move, and just going through like 30-40 guys and spending like a minute or two. It's just it feels so good just doing the combat in that game. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I think separates the two styles, because off of what you said, it is the sense of like flow, but like where it comes from. Because like in Spider-Man, you can jump off of walls, you can jump off the freaking ceiling, you can pull guys up in the air with you, you can throw them off a skyscraper when you're in the air, you swing and you kick them in the air. Whereas Batman's combat is way more about how many of these guys can you just break down, basically, because once you get enough meter, you just hit O and triangle and that guy's out. He's out. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if he has a shock baton, doesn't matter if he has a shield or a lead pipe. Batman is putting that man down. Whoever's in the close vicinity, he's going down.
Yeah, so Batman is more like a tank, kind of just like you said, breaking everything and let's take this pipe they're trying to hit us with, counter, and then boom, just hit him in the face with it.
Exactly.
And then
if
Spider-Man is all about moving around and trying not to get hit and attaching them to walls and, like you say, kicking them in the air, launching them, webbing them, and throwing them back down.
Yes. Way more about maneuverability as opposed to Batman just plowing through and I think it's interesting because Spider-Man's what's it called? Spider-Man's the fortress missions, where you go and you fight a group of guys. They send them to you in waves as opposed to Batman where it's just all like here's 50 guys and 2 Titans. Have fun. And it's like a little different because Spider-Man, I feel like Spider-Man's combat system is just more about maneuverability, and I think sending 50 guys your way is gonna you're never gonna hit them because they're just all over you.
Yeah, especially because Spider-Man takes 4, maybe 5 hits.
Yeah, Spider-Man's pretty fragile, but I mean the goal is to not get hit. Again, unlike Batman, where it's the goal is to not get hit, but you're gonna be the one dishing out more punishment than
Mm-hmm.
than the other guys. So I think that both combat styles are insanely accurate to their characters, which I think is awesome. I'm very happy to be able to report that both styles are similar enough to where they're recognizable, but at the same time, I think their combat styles fit their character monumentally well. So, but Spider-Man for PS4 is a great game. All the side missions are great too. So far, like I love doing the little chores for Harry. Like that's pretty great. Like, freaking makes me feel like an environmentalist. Like, makes me feel super, just like I'm cleaning up the world, you know. What else do I like? I already caught all the pigeons because that was just crazy fun.
All the side missions are so fun.
Yeah, I took pictures of all the monuments already.
Yes.
That was pretty fun.
The backpacks? Dude, the backpacks.
Oh my god, dude.
I love the backpacks.
That's what I was thinking of. That was the first thing I did. I got the first backpack. I'm like, oh my gosh, are they really just giving me like Spidey stuff? Like, yo, I'm going to find every backpack now. Like, I'm just going to go around every time I get a new area. I'm getting every backpack, and I got every single freaking backpack. And I think the cherry on top of that is the little asides he gives to all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I love picking up a backpack and hearing him talk about it. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, they went the extra mile, and it's not just like a written piece of like, oh, Spider-Man used this to fight it. Like, no, they got, you know, Yuri to freaking awesome. Like, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah.
So, man, good game. I'm really looking forward to finishing it. It's getting pretty nuts. I lost my mind when Jeff Davis died. I was like, frick. God dang it. I kind of knew that was going to happen, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of saw it coming. But like, so I know, I mean, we all know what happens to Dr. Octopus, but it's like, as I'm slowly seeing this man who's like my friend, like deteriorate, I'm like, God dang, I don't want you to turn evil. Like,
yeah, he's like a father figure to Peter, and like, you could kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But also like, come on, man, don't do this.
No, like, we're not supposed to be this bad. Like, oh man, Dr. Octopus, I think is now solidifying himself as probably my favorite Spider-Man villain. I mean, originally it was Venom, but like, I don't know, the Venom movie kind of ruined it for me. But but Dr. Octopus is, oh man, he's like, I don't know, he's just great. Like, he's like a almost perfect counter to Spider-Man.
Yeah, he really is.
God, Spider-Man's villains are just fantastic. Like, I don't know if you can get a better set of bad guys for a hero. Like, I mean, maybe Batman, because Batman has some great villains too, but his are kind of all shared in the sense that, oh, here's a crime boss who has a trick umbrella and has a
lot of crime bosses.
Yeah, here's a guy who, like, Harvey Dent is an insanely fascinating character. The Penguin is an insanely fascinating character. You know, a lot of, like you were saying though, a lot of crime bosses, and they're all fascinating underneath. But I feel like Dr. Octopus is fascinating just by freaking default. Like, you just look at him and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this is not the characters themselves, but just how DC has been doing it recently, or as of late. Like, a lot of the villains are great, but Joker really only gets the spotlight.
Which is frustrating beyond all belief.
So there's that, but also when the other characters are introduced, they're like barely there, and then that's it. And you go, okay, well, they were okay, I guess. They weren't really focused on at all, and I just punched them in the face. Okay. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. There's a massive focus now towards Joker, and I think now, for some reason, Harley Quinn. Because Harley Quinn kind of blew up and became a lot more established than... I mean, she's a great character. I'm not even saying, like, I don't...
No, when you said Harley Quinn's just become a lot, I just thought about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. I like, I don't know. Like I 100% agree with you though, because you're right. Because I forgot Killer Croc's in that freaking movie,
Yeah.
and why was he in that movie? Like he did
you know,
one thing.
He watched
and I
BET.
think, yeah, he watched BET. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Man, it's been a while since I've seen Suicide Squad. I want to watch it because I think I actually own it. Maybe it's pretty bad, but I because I 100% agree. I mean, obviously we're on the cusp of, you know, a Joker movie, a Joker solo movie, you know, coming out, and I mean, it's kind of interesting where it's like I'm sitting here kind of thinking like, so even if this movie does well and it turns out it's like, oh, the greatest thing since, I don't know, Batman Dark Knight or whatever, my thing is like, where do we go from here? It's like, are we gonna make more like this? Because DC is always going to be the guys to like, oh, this worked. Let's just do more of this as much as we possibly can to the point where people hate us for it. Because that's DC in a nutshell.
Sounds about right.
So I mean, I'm wondering, like, are we gonna get like a Lex Luthor, or are we just gonna keep it Batman and just kind of have a crime universe where Batman's not really participating and not really doing a good job anymore? You know, like, are we just gonna get like a Two-Face movie or a Penguin movie, or is this just gonna be a solo thing? Like, I mean, I'm sure the movie will probably lay it out because, you know, DC's DC and they have post-credit scenes now because, like I said, they gotta get that trends, you know, they gotta catch those trends in the net and then just use them, just use them. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, would you even be like opposed to something like that, like getting more, like, guess lack for a better term, like grittier, even gritty, like R-rated, hard R, Penguin and Two-Face movies, like
standalone movies?
I guess so. I mean, I'm assuming that's what the Joker is. I don't. It doesn't take place in Affleck's universe because as far as I'm aware, Ben Affleck is not Batman anymore. Mm-hmm. It's Robert Pattinson. Which,
yeah.
First of all, can we just stop making Batman movies like for like a year or two?
This one seems like it has potential. The Batman movie.
Oh no, I'm not even against it. Like that's the thing. Like I'm not against Robert Pattinson. I'm not against like casting choices or any like story. I'm just really tired of the character. Like,
well, we all are, but you know that's all they got. So,
but that's not all they got.
That's the
like,
it's the only hero they have, Blake.
Do you remember like? Hold on a second.
Who they got? Superman.
Hold on a second. Do you remember? I want to kind of, because this reminds me of something. Mm-hmm. Do you remember, like, I don't know how many years ago that we made a DCEU video? Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yes.
It was titled Death of the DCEU.
Yes.
Do you remember what we discussed? Because I do. We talked about a Flash movie that just got a new director. I remember this. It was the director of Dope.
I don't remember that. It's been so many directors.
All right, well, yeah, I know, no kidding. So let me remind you. So we talked about the first thing I think we talked about was a Green Lantern movie that was being written by the same guy who did Man of Steel and the Dark Knight trilogy, David S. Goyer.
Okay.
That has not had anything at all. That I have heard nothing about that. I don't even, as far as I'm aware,
sure it's scrapped.
I am 90% sure that movie will never see the light of day. But it's funny because, like, God, I really want to like see DC's like did they ever have a roadmap? Like, because I want to see that. Like, I want to see what their plan was. Like, what was their Infinity War? What was their end game? Like, what were they building to? Because I've heard that, and you and me have talked about like some of the I guess the scrapped ideas they had for it, but the whole movie scrapped ideas. But like we've talked about it, where it's like they intended it to be super dark, like they were going to bring Superman back, and then Darkseid was going to show up. Superman was going to turn evil again, and then that's when all the crap that was in BVS, Batman's flashback dream future thing, Like, that's where that was going to happen. And I'm like, was that it? Like, was that their roadmap? Was their roadmap, like, Justice League versus Darkseid, and that's it? Or they, like, I want to know, like, did they have a plan afterwards? Like, because no offense, but, like, once you do Darkseid, who else can really fight the Justice League? Like, they, at the end of Justice League, they allude to, like, oh, Lex Luthor is making a team, but it's like, I don't know. Like,
we go with who's marketable, Like, I mean, it took a while, but Avengers Endgame was, Thanos, because that's their most, I would say their most famous villain, big time villain.
Which is fascinating.
So DC is the same way, Darkseid.
Yeah. On a side note to that, what's funny? I have a old, not old, but like a kind of early 2010s Marvel Encyclopedia book. I got it for like Christmas when I was really into Marvel. And it has like bios for every single characters. And you can tell which character is important if they have, or which event is important if they have, by the number of pages they have or the size of their bios. So characters like Spiderman have like 4 pages dedicated to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Characters like Cyclops from the X-Men have like 2. The Thing has 1. Thanos is in a little itty-bitty corner.
Wow.
And I'm like, and no, that's the thing, is I was reading this and I was all like, wow, they really blew Thanos up. I don't know if Marvel really liked Thanos, or not liked, but like, I don't know if Marvel really knew who Thanos like was back in the day.
I think that's just that book, to be honest. I mean, big 3 Marvel villains are or Avengers villains: Doctor Doom, Thanos, and Galactus.
Oh, but that's what I mean, though. They give whole pages to Doom and Galactus, of course, but like, they didn't give a whole lot to Thanos. They just kind of said like, he's kind of a space douchebag, and it was like, oh wow, that's weird. Like, given the modern context, where like, Thanos is a meme and everything, but no. But anyways, but I mean, well, that's my thing, I guess. We are jumping from topic to topic, but like, that's my thing, is like, to go back to DC and to kind of wrap that up. Like, I'm just curious, like, what, like, did they have plans afterward? Because like, obviously they had plans afterward, with like the, what was it, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold movie, which, like, I don't know who came up with that idea, because nobody knows those, unless you watch like Young Justice or something. Nobody knows.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about Marvel, though. It's just DC didn't do it right. They were just like, oh well, we don't care about these guys. Let's just make more Batman.
Yeah, but like, I think one of the things that Marvel had the benefit of is, and I remember saying this in the video we made about it, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, once I remember saying, like, if they pull off Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the weirdest, or some of the weirdest stuff they have, if they make that movie work, I am 100% convinced that Marvel could do anything they want and people will like it, because that's what I mean. Like they could make a Squirrel Girl movie. They could make a freaking, I don't know. Like, they're gonna be the ones attempting a new Fantastic Four. Like, I mean, good luck, guys. But like, I mean, because it's hard. Fantastic Four are hard. But like,
I don't think so. But different discussion.
Yeah, but like, that's my thing though. Is like, Marvel at this point could announce that they're gonna make a freaking movie about the Impossible Man, or the original Human Torch, who was a robot. Like, they could do anything that they want, and I think people will just be like, oh, it's gonna be great. Like, they made a movie about Captain Marvel, and like, Captain Marvel was not that big, like, not that monumental, but still, like, DC. But I think that came with the benefit of Marvel starting with characters that were unknown. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Like, those were not household names back in those times. You know what I mean? The only household Marvel names were like the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man,
Fantastic Four.
Maybe Fantastic Four.
100% Fantastic Four. They
you
made
think
like
so?
100%, yeah. Well, you weren't. I'm saying, I'm not throwing out beef, but you weren't a huge Marvel guy back in the day,
No, but I mean, I remember the Fantastic Four movies but I didn't know Fantastic Four were like, I
mean, they were definitely bigger than Iron Man, Captain America.
Oh, for sure, because they had,
Fantastic Four wasn't like, Spider-Man or Wolverine, but like, they were like right below, I would say.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you weren't an X-Men or a character from Spider-Man, maybe the Hulk, and yeah, I think the Fantastic Four. I actually think that makes a lot of sense. If you weren't one of them, people didn't know who you were for the most part.
I mean, yeah, there's a reason why we got like the Fantastic Four movies before we got an Iron Man movie. You know, I'm not saying those movies, were worth it, but there's a reason we got them.
Yeah, no, and I'm 100% with you, and it's like, but that's my thing is like, what you said about DC, like they have to kind of lead into that. I think that like Superman and Batman are at such a point in their history where it's like we don't need origin movies for these people. Like we know how it happened. You know what I mean? I like one of the things. What is it? Is it Wonder Woman or Justice League? Oh yeah, no, I think I said this before. Like you can start with Justice League as a like you could have just started with the Justice League movie and just had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman recruiting the Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg and like building this team, could have had, I think I said this where it's like you could have had Superman teach Cyborg because like they both feel out of place. You could have had Wonder Woman talk to Aquaman because they're both kind of like from a royal family that doesn't want anything to do with Earth and man and whatever. Could have had Batman talk to the Flash because I forget why. Was it the other way around? I don't know. I got something wrong there. But like I feel like you can have a movie where it's like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are already established because people, for the most part, maybe not Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman kind of deserves a solo movie, but like Batman, Superman, everybody knows their origin story. Like you don't have to show it anymore, So, like they're household names, and they're Batman and Superman, and probably Wonder Woman. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Wonder Woman's a household name? I would say so.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the big three are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think DC's term for them is literally the Trinity.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Like I would say that like at this point, like in terms of film, in terms of comics, unless you want to do something completely wacky and different, in terms of TV, like I don't think you really need to explain their origin anymore. Like I don't think we need to see Krypton blow up another time. I don't think we need to see Batman get his parents shot brutally in the street. I don't think we need to see Wonder Woman leave the mascara or anything like that. I don't think we need it anymore. Like, and so my question, and to go back to the Robert Pattinson Batman thing where this kind of started, like, my question is like, what the heck? What more can we do with this freaking character? Like, we've done a gritty, more realistic take. We've done a comic and funny take. We've done a kind of in the middle with Tim Burton stuff. We've done The Dark Knight Returns because Zack Snyder will make sure you know that The Dark Knight Returns is a great comic because he just copied it, panel for panel. Like my thing is like with this new Batman, like are they just gonna like? What are they going to do? Like, the only thing I can imagine is if they do the new stuff, like the new 52 Court of the Owls stuff, which is cool. That stuff's actually really great. Scott Snyder did an amazing job writing that stuff. That's Scott Snyder, not Zack Snyder. But that's my thing is like, I'm sitting back here hearing about this new Batman movie. I'm like, dude, how much longer? Like, how many more? Like
forever, Blake. We've been in this state since high school.
Yeah. And that's
even
funny
before high school.
Yeah, but what's funny is like 2 years ago we were just talking about this, where it's like, dude, they just keep pushing Batman. Like, and I get it, he's a universal character, but like I'm concerned that DC is gonna like wear out his popularity at some point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we talked about this. For me, it's been like that since high school, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, no, you're right. But it's like,
well, for me, and not saying for everybody else.
But like, who else? Like, Batman just celebrated his 80th anniversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. But around like, and so what did they do? They put up freaking bat signals around like the country, and even in Canada, I think, because Warner Brothers Montreal is doing something. Do you don't? I know you don't. But like, what did they do for Superman's 80th, because Superman's 80th has happened. Superman's
Who cares, Blake?
Yeah.
Who cares?
That's what I mean, though. Like, I just think it's so funny where, again, I think I said this verbatim one time, where it's like, DC just doesn't care about anybody else anymore. Like,
nope.
And like, that's dang, like, shoot. So I mean, I guess that, to bring it all the way back, that's why I'm interested in the roadmap to Justice League. Like, what were they gonna do? Like, what did they want to do? Like, if, like, in a perfect world where these DC movies and Marvel movies were, like, practically, I don't know, neck and neck in terms of box office, in terms of ratings, in terms of, like, in this weird world where it's like a actual competitive market to see who can make the best superhero movie. Like, what was DC gonna do? Like, I would be interested in seeing that. So.
I think we just have to admit they didn't have a plan, Blake. I'm sorry to say, but their main goal was just, hey, we gotta catch up to Marvel and the Avengers. Let's just make Justice League, and we'll figure it out from there. Because as we saw, they had some movies planned. Green Lantern, Blue Beetle, didn't get made. And Blake, just like, what was it, a year ago, I think? Maybe even less. They said, okay, you know what, guys, we figured it out. We are finally going to make character-focused movies that aren't, we're not going to focus on Justice League or team-up movies. We just want to make quality movies, that are more character-focused. And I'm like, you're telling me this, like, when Aquaman is coming out? You're just thinking about this? Are you serious? Like, oh my god. Do you remember when they said that?
I don't remember when they said that. Who said that? Was that one of them? Was that like Jeff Johns or something like that said that?
I don't know. It was, I can't remember exactly, but it was, DC. And I think it was around the time Aquaman came out, or I think after, saying how popular it was, how much money it made. I think they were like, we are going to focus now more, like, we're not going to focus on Justice League. We're going to focus on the solo movies. I think pretty much what the quote was, we're going to focus on making just, quality movies. That's what our goal is.
And they still messed that up.
Yeah. Yeah, but when they say that, like, after Justice League and Man of Steel, they really had no plan going.
Mm-hmm. No, hey, you're probably right. I just think it would be interesting if they did have one. That's all.
I know, it would be way more interesting if they had one.
Like, I'd be curious to see, like, I don't know, concept art, or like a first draft of a script or something like that. Like, I don't know, first few pages. Like, just because it's interesting to me. I love production stuff, because, like, when movies stay in production hell, they transform into these unique things, and it's, I don't know, it's fascinating to see. But anyways, DC's putting a lot more emphasis on its villains now. To go back to the, like, because you were saying, like, we're gonna, they said, like, we're gonna go to focusing on character-driven movies, and I'm like, all right. So your idea of character-driven is to make a dark Joker movie, and then a Birds of Prey movie, and then another Suicide Squad, and shoot, what else is after that? I mean, meanwhile, you got the CW out here doing bonkers stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't want to go into it, but they're doing a lot of interesting stuff, CW. I just wish, like, when I see all the effort that these people are actually making, and the people they're putting in, and all the crossover stuff, I'm like, wow, I just really wish these shows were better.
Is it weird that when because, like, some of the clips will, for some reason, still get into my recommended feed for YouTube, and I'm like, it's like season 5 of Arrow at this moment. I'm like, and then I'll watch it and I'll be like, oh my god, I used to watch this show. Like, the writing is just like
that.
I don't know. Like, okay, I don't know who. It's like I don't know, dude. It's hard. I can't even talk right now because it's so freaking baffling. It's like, it's it's like, oh my god, I can't figure out a way to describe it. Give me a second. Okay. Like, they throw in all these little hints and nods and references, right? To like, oh, Batman, oh, Superman. Like, specifically in The Flash. The Flash does it way worse than the Arrow does. Like, The Flash has like such... Oh, like, okay, there's one line that sticks out to me. Where it's like, it's an older episode. It's like season 1 of The Flash, right? Where the Flash talks about this metal guy that he had to fight that's like an ex-bully of his. Do you remember this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, there's this part where he's all like, I can't hit him because he's made of metal. And the freaking guy in the wheelchair is like, oh, how peculiar. A man of steel. And I just was like, oh my god. Like,
yeah.
I like, but I remember specifically as a... I don't know when that show came. As a high schooler, I guess I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool line," you know, little illusion Superman. And now I'm like, "Oh my god, who the frick sat down and wrote that?" Like, oh, like it's just like, oh no, like don't say things like that. That's like a dad joke. Like I guess that's the best way I can summarize it. It's like someone's dad wanted to make like edgy comic book stories, but not too edgy. Like, it's still fun for the kids, but it's like people still die and explode and get shot with arrows, but it's like, it's still a little jokey though. Come on, like, you know, boxing glove arrow and things like that. Like, oh my freaking, I don't know. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. CW's writing is like, it's like a dad wrote it, like all of it. Like, Supergirl especially. Supergirl is, oh my god. Like, I don't have anything to say about CW.
All right, we're done talking about DC.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk about DC, I get tired.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it's no problem.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. Oh my god, because we
you
always
sit
say
back. Yeah.
Because we always say the same things about it. Like it's always like,
because they never change.
I know exactly. It's always I was about to say it's always current. Like, it's not just we're talking about things that happened 5 years ago. They're still doing the same things they did 5 years ago.
No, actually though, like,
and it's just us going, man, I hope DC has a plan. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They're just focusing on Batman. Where's Superman? And then we just keep saying the same things every like year or two. It hurts.
Oh my gosh, no, that's 100% true. Okay, I'm done. But like we say, we're done, and then they're gonna do something stupid again, and then we're gonna talk about it again. Yeah,
100%. We'll probably mention it and go off on the same things we said for a while. But yeah, I'm done talking about DC right now.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
TL did not listen. Just get better, DC. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's been so many years. Anyways, so let's talk about Marvel. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Is that okay? So like, I just want to know: how have you felt about this whole Spider-Man divorce, where his parents are getting divorced thing? You know, Sony and Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, his
yeah,
parents are dead.
I was actually considering talking about that right now. No, because I was thinking about things. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, like what about it? Like, just the whole thing?
I guess so. I mean, it's over now.
Yeah, it's over now. I mean, I don't know. Not really much to talk about. I mean,
did it keep you up at night?
No, not really.
It didn't keep me up at night either.
I think part of it is because I really did not like Far From Home. I think that's a big... I think I would care more if I liked Far From Home, and my thinking was, yeah, it kind of sucks we won't get Spider-Man in the MCU. I mean, I think we all thought it will happen, just they'll fix the deal, we just don't know when. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it didn't keep me up at night because I thought I like Spider-Man when he's with the Avengers, like in Infinity War and all that. But I did not like Homecoming was a good step in the right direction, and you could see the potential for that. But then Far From Home was like, you know, okay.
Yeah, no.
No,
I was gonna say no. I'm with you.
The even Homecoming, I guess when you compare like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, like 1 and 2, to Homecoming and Far From Home, whether you think, like, I don't even know, Far From Home versus, like, Amazing Spider-Man 2 in terms of, like, objectively, like, quality, I couldn't tell you which one is, like, a better film or not. But you look at the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and those are way more character-focused than the Marvel ones, you know? Than Homecoming and Far From Home. That's at least, like, how it feels to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because Far From Home, at the very least, it didn't feel character-focused at all for Peter. Like, the Tony Stark thing, that was it was kind of addressed, but it could have been a lot more focused on, and how he doesn't feel adequate enough to be a hero and all that. It was just more of, I miss Tony Stark and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And people were mentioning, well, if it goes back to Sony, then maybe it will be more character focused on Spider-Man himself, and not, with all this MCU stuff, like with the Avengers and Iron Man, because that's been more of the focus with this version of Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. And yeah, like, thinking about it, that's kind of true. Like, the actual character of Spider-Man hasn't really been focused on too much as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on everything you said. Like, comparing all the Spider-Man films kind of objectively, specifically Amazing versus the MCU version. Is it weird? Like, okay, so last time we talked, I think I talked about how Homecoming is a really good movie, and it is. But like, both those movies feel so weird. And I don't know why. Like, every time I watch them, like, specifically Homecoming, not necessarily Far From Home, but like specifically Homecoming, whenever I watch it, I'm always kind of sitting here like, something feels weird. Like, it just, like, when I sit down and watch The Amazing Spider-Man, or even the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, as campy as it is, it feels good. Like, it feels right, I don't know what it is, but I feel as though that, like, both the original Sony's, Spider-Man, they just have a sort of kind of intimate feeling, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I feel like the MCU Spider-Man just lacks that, where I don't really feel like, I don't feel close to Spider-Man. I don't feel like I really understand him so much anymore, where it's like, because he exists in a world full of, like, these big, like, whopping heroes, and he's like, I don't know, and a lot of it has to do with, I think, Iron Man's presence in it, specifically Iron Man, because, like, God forbid he has a friendship with Captain America. But I don't know, it's just like, there's something very just, like, just weird feeling about the MCU stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like
it gets hollow, would you say?
Yeah, I would go as far as to say I think hollow is a perfect descriptor. Like, and if I can I be controversial for a second?
Oh, okay. Go on.
I wasn't following the Marvel versus Sony thing very, very closely. But in my heart, every time I saw an article about that, I was secretly hoping, okay, good, Sony, just keep them.
Damn.
Because for multiple reasons. Number one, I don't want my Into the Spider-Verse sequel to be gone. I need that movie. Okay? I want that movie. They're going to do Spider-Man 2099, okay? If they screw that up, I will never see another Marvel movie. But secondly, like, I just feel like there was something kind of special about, like, like I was saying, like, the intimate feeling of the original Amazing Spider-Man and then the original Spider-Man. Like, they, they're both completely different movies, same character, but they both feel like they are talking about Spider-Man. They're talking about this guy. They're talking about Peter Parker. Whereas I feel like Homecoming isn't really talking about Spider-Man. It's talking about something else. And I think it comes from the fact that it's, specifically Homecoming. I think Homecoming is blessed by, but also kind of suffers from the fact that they tried so hard to replicate John Hughes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, the classic Breakfast Club kind of feeling. Because those movies, I don't know if you can really combine that genre with a superhero movie. Because if I'm going to be straight up, The Amazing Spider-Man kind of already did that. Because John Hughes movies are insanely intimate with the characters. You know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You have like an insane... Like, you don't get to like 100%... Like, you get to know Ferris Bueller really well. But I think what's more interesting is like his best friend who suffers from like feeling like, you know, kind of a worry wart. Like he gets into trouble because of Ferris Bueller, but he learns to like stand up for himself in the end. Like there's character growth in him because of Ferris. Like that's really cool. Breakfast Club. You got, I think it's 5, right? Is it 5 or 6? I think it's 5.
It doesn't matter.
Like, I think you have, like, 5 characters, all completely unique, trapped in a detention room, and then they talk about their lives, and they all understand. There's an intimacy there. Homecoming, I don't know, man. Homecoming just doesn't really feel that intimate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, I guess that's it, you know? Like, I'm with you, where it's like, there's a different feeling.
Well, see, I think Homecoming, like what you were saying like a minute before, I think Homecoming does still work.
Yes, no, I agree.
Overall, like it is a great movie. But it's 100%. Oh, I mean the small part in Civil War when Iron Man talks to Spider-Man, I think that's such a perfect. I think everybody agrees that's just like a perfect scene. It really encapsulates what that character is as well.
Yeah, no, I agree.
5 minutes. But Homecoming is the best they've done in making you feel for Peter, and like with the you know, when he's stuck under all that rubble after he fought the Vulture.
Yeah.
That's such a great, you know, intimate scene with Spider-Man. There is, you know, some of the stuff with Tony Stark and how he wants to be an Avenger, but then at the end he's like, you know what, I'm gonna work for the little guy. That's who I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is that stuff, you know, but there is a lot of stuff that is more like a fun superhero movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the further you get with, you know, Infinity War and Endgame, which those movies didn't... I don't really expect that from them because they don't have the time to do that. But, like, the farther you get, and then Far From Home, it's like, okay, well, let's not focus on any Spider-Man stuff whatsoever, you know?
Yeah.
And so when people were saying, oh, well, I want a Spider-Man 3 in the MCU, that'll be such a great trilogy, I went... Honestly, I don't care if we do get one in the MCU, because from Homecoming to Far From Home, that was such a big drop for me, like especially in terms of the character and focusing on him, that a third one, I don't know how that would work.
I don't know what they want to do with it. Is my kind of thing, where it's like, you know, like we talked about it, like Spider-Man's identity being revealed is, I think, fine on a story beat, but it's like, that's the foundation that next movie has to build on. Like, he either, you know, like, that's what that movie's going to be about. I think that's kind of like putting the next writer or director kind of in story jail to some degree. Like, they have to make that movie about Spider-Man's identity being revealed. Like, that's what that next movie has to be about. So, the only thing I can see is either A, they find a way to make everybody not believe it's him, or B, he just tells the world, yeah, I'm Spider-Man, I'm like Iron Man, kind of thing. Like an Iron Man moment, like I am Spider-Man.
No.
And that's...
no.
But see, that's
I didn't
the thing.
think about that. No, I don't want it.
But see, that's my thing, is like, I don't see any other way that... And like, they're probably going to use that in the marketing, like, will he, you know, they won't make a trailer like this, but like, will he get his identity revealed, or will he find a way to cover it up? And my money's on, they're just going to have him own it. Like, that's what Marvel does, right. You know, like
he's gonna step up into the next, like, maybe not leader per se at that point in his life, but he's gonna be like the next pillar of hope that Iron Man was.
Yeah, which is
no.
See, that's my thing though. Like that, and
that's why'd you tell me this? I don't want it. No,
I'm sorry. My question is, who the heck's gonna be the next villain? I mean, as far as I'm aware, Sony owns all the villains. I think, right? Don't they still own, like, Doc Ock and Electro? Not Electro, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, no, Electro. Don't they still own, like, some of the like the
I
big.
don't know how the villain stuff works.
Like who can? That's the
they
thing.
probably
Who knows?
do.
I don't know how it works either because Sony owns like it's isn't it weird that this character is in such a weird state of like limbo, not limbo, but like ownership limbo. Like Marvel and Sony own the character of filming, so they can both make Spider-Man movies, but at the same time, you got this completely separate universe where Venom's running around without a Spider-Man, which makes him completely pointless as a character, almost. No, not almost. I take that back.
They are still technically Sony movies. They aren't like, Marvel Marvel does help with the, like Kevin Feige, goes in and makes it work for the MCU, but they are still Sony movies.
Oh yeah, but you don't see Venom teaming up with or trying to kill Captain America.
Not
you know what I mean? Like
yet.
That's the weird.
Not yet. They said there's potential for some crossover,
which is weird.
It's gonna happen. I'm just saying, Spider-Man, because his identity was revealed, he moves to San Francisco, and that's how we get Venom and Spider-Man together.
You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. I would not put it past them.
I would not put it past them either.
But my thing is, what does Venom have to do with any of that? Venom doesn't care.
Shut up.
Like Eddie Brock has nowhere left to go. Like Venom, I'm sorry.
No more heroes, man. Except, he is one, but who cares? Shut up.
He doesn't care, he just eats bad guys. I don't know, God, dude, man.
That's why we gotta watch Venom 2.
Well, there's going to be carnage.
Oh my god, that was so bad.
What a great line. What a great casting choice to get the most southern man I've ever heard in my life to play a psychopathic murderer.
We'll get a black blob, from a black blob versus a gray blob to a black blob versus a red blob.
Red blob.
Yeah.
Oh god, dude. What was the villain's name in the last one? Riot?
Yeah, Riot.
I'm sorry, that name doesn't work.
What? That's cool, man. You don't get it, man.
No. I like the name in terms of the comic books, but like for a scientist guy bearing up with a evil symbiote like Riot?
Nah, you don't get it. It's great.
A little weird.
That's great. How dare you?
Anyways, but yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Spider-Man Homeless is gonna be pretty crazy, I guess. I don't know who the villain's gonna be. It's probably.
I'm still going for No Home. It's probably Homeless is another great guess, but I think it will be No Home.
Spider-Man No Home.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homeboy.
Yes.
Oh well. I guess that's a good ending point for that discussion.
Yeah.
But I actually wanted to mention something that I've been watching.
Okay.
So, have you heard of a little series on Netflix called Disenchantment?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's by Matt Groening, the guy who made Simpsons and Futurama.
Yeah. No, I know.
Have you seen it?
I saw the first episode and I was not impressed. And then everything I've seen, like in terms of trailers and all that, I am not impressed.
Yep.
Like really at all.
That sums that up, brother.
I might have seen two episodes. I can't remember.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly. I'm not impressed. So season 1, I watched the entirety of because I was like, I need a new animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saving myself for the Dragon Prince because I'm very not because I don't want to watch it, but because I'm like, I'm excited. Like I just want to let that tension build. I'm like, oof,
okay,
because it looks cool. I like the Dragon Prince.
It's good, yeah.
But and like Netflix doesn't have a ton. They have a lot, but not a ton of like I don't really feel like watching She-Ra. Not because it's not because it's just like I don't like I like Voltron, but like I don't have any. I'm okay with She-Ra. Like I don't know anything about She-Ra. Like Voltron, I at least heard in passing, and I know She-Ra from He-Man, but like I'm good, thanks.
But how was Disenchantment?
You pretty much summed it up. I'm not impressed. And season 2 actively like angered me because it's.
Oh yeah. Did you watch all of it?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
All of season 2?
Yeah, I watched all of season 1.
No, you said you saw all of season 1. You didn't say
because I was gonna say like that was my thought is like so I watched season 1 and I was like okay it's not the greatest thing ever. It's all right. But like everybody was like I remember watching a couple YouTube videos where like season 2 will probably improve because it's like they know what they want now, and then I watched season 2 and it got even worse.
Oh,
and it's
see,
like,
I thought the same thing. Like I heard the last bit of season 1 is better
yeah,
than the
that's true.
first half.
That is true.
So I was like, okay, well maybe they'll go with that with season 2. Maybe I'll watch that, and then, well, now you're telling me it got worse. So cool.
It did get worse because there's a few problems with the show, but like I think the biggest problem is that number one, this show is I was hoping that the show would like be an adventure series where it's like you got these 3 weird characters going through the forests and fantasy lands, like going on an adventure to go get something, you know? Because that's like, that's what adventure stories usually do. That's what most fantasies have, character goes to do something. That's not what the show's about at all. And they make it look that way in the marketing.
They do. They really do.
But like they make it look like she ran away from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happens at all. So, she still lives in the castle, and they still live in this place called Dreamland, which I don't think anybody has ever heard of Kirby on that writing team. And so they just go around this city, maybe going out into like the woods to go do something for the city, and it's the dumbest thing ever. Like, there's nothing here. Like, that was my thing. I was watching season 1. I'm like, oh my god, there's nothing here. Like, there's no adventure. What's the freaking point of having a fantasy land if I'm not going to get to see it? Like, you guys just have this one area. And then season 2, oh god. So season 1 sets up like season 2 story stuff because season 1, because this show actually wants to have a story, like, oh, we're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I thought, okay, well, season 1 ends things with like a cliffhanger. So like, oh, where are we gonna go now? Season 2 immediately begins by basically just saying, who cares? Let's just go back to where we were now. Oh my god.
That was the vibe I got from watching the trailer.
Yeah, it's dumb. Don't watch it. I'm sorry.
Okay. I watched the like maybe the first 2 episodes. Can't remember. I didn't care for it at all. It's like that wasn't very funny.
Yeah.
And then like my roommates were like, "Oh well, yeah, I kind of thought the same thing too when I watched it, but it gets a lot better." But I was very I didn't think it was very funny at all.
Yeah.
First off,
I'm gonna probably just pull a nostalgia critic and remember it so you don't have to. So watch it so you don't have to.
Okay, good. Oh, like Voltron?
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. I honestly will straight up.
Well, I might still go with that. But in Disenchantment, I remember seeing a video about how a lot of the jokes are like the same joke, where they'll set up an expectation and then they'll, maybe I'm not describing it right, but one example of the joke that I got was like they're on a ship and they can't make noise or something will kill them.
Yes.
And then they go, like, don't make a noise. And then one character goes, what?
Yeah.
And
so
that's
exactly
I forget
it.
how that kind of joke was described, but that's like most of the jokes in this show.
They can't make a noise because something that will kill them will like make a sound that'll like attract them to kill themselves or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the characters has earplugs in. And so obviously that character has earplugs in, didn't hear what the guy said, so he says what, and the thing that attracts them kills them. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, I hear that's what a lot of the jokes are.
Yeah, that is 100. It's not as clever as Futurama, because Futurama has like interesting like social commentary on a lot of things as well.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get that, but with like fantasy or medieval stuff, but not really.
So like, but here's the thing. So like Simpsons is like social commentary on the family and like the neighborhood kind of
suburban stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And Futurama is kind of social commentary on society as a whole, like where the future is and like what people value and things like that. That's why Futurama is insanely genius. But Disenchantment, like it tries to have social commentary, but one of the biggest flaws is that it's set in a fantasy land. So like there are times where they have like social commentary on like drugs, and it's like, what the heck? Like in in a fantasy world, like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Like things like that. Like they want to have like they want to have their social commentary stuff because that's what the creator and the writers are known for, but it's like it doesn't work because we're in a fantasy world where this stuff shouldn't exist, right? Like it's weird that you put it in, and it's like I don't know. Like they have like the only thing that's like kind of funny is the commentary on religion. Because like that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a joke where it's like the priest is all like, we thank God or gods. Honestly, we don't really know what's up there. It's just there's probably something up there. Who cares? We just thank it or he or she. Like it's kind of like jokes like that are kind of funny. But other than that, it's like there's no, you know, like the king's a fat, you know, like the king's a stereotypical like fat, you know, eats a lot, mean to his servants. Like, oh, that's not social commentary. That's just the fat guy. Like, you know, like that's the baseline for it, you know. And so
see, for me, in the, like again, I think it was the first 2 episodes, but in those at least in the first one, I was comparing Disenchantment's first episode versus Futurama's, and just in terms of the characters and the main character who is like the princess, right? She, like, is she the main one or is the elf dude?
No, it's Bean. Bean's the main character. That's her.
Okay. And like her first, the interaction we see where she's playing the cards and she gets in a fight and she drinks a lot and all that, and she doesn't want to, you know, be princess or whatever. It just didn't create like a character I related with or I wanted to connect to. I was just like, oh, she's vulgar and she gets into fights a lot and she has a bad attitude. All right. When you compare it to like Fry, in the first within, what is it, like minute of that show, you're like, okay, this dude's life kind of sucks and he wants more. He wants more than just delivering pizzas. And then when he gets into the future, you know, that's when his world kind of opens up and you really relate to him. You relate to Bender because of his whole, like, he can't bend a certain way. I can't remember exactly. And then Leela doesn't want to be tied down to her job or be tied down in a certain way.
Yeah.
And they try similar things with the characters in Disenchantment, but they're not very likable.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So, you're right.
Because they do want more in their life as well.
Yeah.
But they're not very likable. Like,
what I think
I don't know.
interesting,
I didn't root for them.
No. You're right. I'm in the same boat where it's like, so one of the interesting things about The Simpsons and Futurama is that even though they're on like a serialized show where you don't need to like necessarily watch in order, you know, to understand the full story, even though it helps. But there's so many freaking episodes that it's like impossible. All the characters are pretty 3-dimensional, you know, like there's the famous Homer thing where it's like there's a sign in his office when he first gets his job, or it's like it says something like, I don't know, it's like a sign of oppression, but he like covers it up with pictures of, not Lisa, the little girl, Maggie, with pictures of Maggie that then spells it, do it for her, and it's like, oh, that's cute, you know. Homer's might be a naive, you know, kind of lazy, you know, dad, but like he's got a backbone, he's got an emotional center. Fry, like what you described, he's kind of like a naive, schlubby, like just kind of hates his life, and then he gets frozen, he gets into a new life, and he kind of finds one that's exciting, and like he's, you know, and he's just kind of like he's kind of a schlub, you know what I mean? Like he's just, it's hard to, like, you know what I mean though? Like he's like he's like a big dork, you know, he just doesn't like understand things. He tries to be like a, you know, like a smart guy, but it always comes out wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And then for Bean, it's like she's it's not, I don't even think it has anything to do with the fact that she's a girl. I think it's just the fact that like, I just don't really understand. Like she's tired of being kind of she's kind of like Leela to some degree, where she doesn't want to be restricted by her dad, because the first episode is like, she's engaged to marry this guy, so she spends the first 2 episodes running away from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then to avoid the marriage, she turns the guy into a pig. And it's like, and then in the third episode, she the pig's brother, the guy's brother, is like, oh well, I'll marry. No, you know what? I'm sorry, I take that back. I don't know. It's something like that. The guy, she's just basically trying to avoid being tied down. But it's like, it's hard to like root for her because like she makes decisions that like are just like they're not there. There's no real like emotional center, you know. And I think that's the thing that like she misses is like her mom got turned to stone, and her dad is like the king, and he's just kind of distant. Like she has a wrecked family life, but there's no sense of like, yeah, but I still love my dad, or yeah, I still, this, and this. I think in one episode she actually tries to freaking kill her dad or something like that, and it's like, what the heck? Like, it's just confusing because it's like there is no real emotional center. You don't see it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Ironically, the most likable character is Lucy, who's like this, who's like the demon. He was the closest thing to a likable character, just because he's like unapologetically like a douchebag, and that's his point. But like, you see an emotional center from him. If I can compare him to anybody, he's the Bender of this show, where he's like rough and mean on the outside, a complete like just jerk. But like, he develops an emotional center, and he actually, in the second season, he trades his immortality and his powers as a demon to save his friends from hell. You know what I mean? So like, there's an emotional center to that character. But like, Elfo, who's the elf character, who's just kind of like Bart Simpson, that's an elf, mm-hmm. and Bean just don't really have that. Like, they replaced three-dimensional character building for what I think is just kind of, I don't know, like bad decision making, weird character. I don't know. It's weird. Just
like weird antics, I guess.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like, yeah, that's it. Like there's really nothing there, and I think that's why the show doesn't work at all, is just because there's so little character to just keep watching, So this concludes this rant on Disenchantment.
Well, I'm glad I haven't, or I'm not going to continue.
Yeah, don't watch it. There's no point.
All right, good.
Disappointing, to say the least, because I liked Futurama a lot, and I was hoping.
It's one of the best shows ever made. But a show I've been watching, since we're talking about shows, or
what was that?
Huh?
Sorry, you kind of blew out there. What did you say?
No, sorry. I figured since you mentioned a show you watched recently, I'll mention a show I watched recently.
Hit me.
Which was Scream. I watched the Scream TV show.
Sorry, that's Scream with an M?
Yeah, Scream.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, not really, but kind of based off of just the concept, I guess, of the movies. Yeah, well, our mutual friend, Daniel, I forget how it came up in conversation, but he mentioned how Scream is one of like his favorite shows right now. And he really loves it. And I remember watching it like one episode just because nothing else was on. Mm-hmm. The last like 10 minutes, I think, on MTV, because that's who makes it, MTV, which is still super interesting to me. I don't know how they've started making like just full-fledged TV shows, but whatever. And I remember thinking, this is not good at all. This looks terrible. But because of our friend Daniel, I decided to watch it from episode 1, and I finished the first 2 seasons. And you know what? Not as bad as I thought it would be.
Really? Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this is a kind of a horror with a touch of comedy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I think that's what the original movies were.
Yeah,
right?
It's like, I wouldn't say like comedy, but it's like, it's horror movie that's like kind of self-aware, like that establishes the rules of horror movies. And so kind of like a meta commentary on itself.
Yeah. Is it more of a parody, or is it more of just like a kind of a like?
It's definitely not a parody, but like
Okay.
they'll like, so in like, for example, the first Scream movie, they mentioned like the rules, a famous scene. They mentioned the rules of horror movies, like the 3 rules, like don't drink, don't have sex, and I think I forget what the other one was.
Yeah.
In the sequel, they say, "Oh, these are the rules of sequel horror movies. You know, there's more blood. Nobody is safe, not even the main character. The first one,
Mm-hmm.
and then they bring it back with the third one, to how the end trilogy of a horror movie, and they kind of do the same thing. Like the first episode, one character mentions, "Oh well, like a horror movie, that's a whole different beast. Like you watch it for like 2 hours. You go in and you come out 2 hours later, and there's like a small group of characters. They all die really quickly. But in a show, it's drawn out. How does a horror show work if
Yeah.
you stretch it to like 12, 24 episodes with a small cast?
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of, there's not as much meta commentary as the movies, but there is like some in there to like reference the movies. But for the most part, it's kind of like your typical horror kind of show. But I would say compared to, I don't remember a lot, but at least compared to other like murder or like horror kind of shows, I will say this is like one of the better ones I've seen. And like, I thought about this. It's no like Breaking Bad or anything like that. I wouldn't say, yo, this is like a top quality show. However, I will say, at least with Scream and another show I watched, Awkward, which is like a another kind of high school kind of drama kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
MTV makes not too bad shows.
It's actually funny you bring that up, because from what I understand, they used to make a lot of. It's funny because they were known predominantly in their 90s for like making music video TV,
Mm-hmm.
but like in the mid 2000s, they actually had a lot of shows. Like, they actually made an Amazing Spider-Man show, a 3D animated
Oh
Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man show.
I remember that.
Very strange. I believe Neil Patrick Harris was the voice of Peter Parker in Spider-Man.
Not bad, pretty good.
Yeah, had some weird stuff. I watched the first episode, but the animation is just so dated that it's hard to watch. At least for me. They also had, I think, Clone High, which a lot of people is like, those are the guys who wrote like 21 Jump Street, Lego Movie, and things like that. They made a show called Clone High, and a lot of people fondly remember that show.
I don't remember that. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't remember it either,
MTV
because I didn't watch
shows.
MTV either. So, but I think it's interesting that like now they've changed from being, music video central to like they're an actual network now. I mean, a lot of their stuff is just like not like teen, but young adult drama shows and things like that. Very much in the sign of like reality TV shows and like Teen Mom and things like that. Actually, it's Teen Mom.
Yeah, it's MTV.
Okay. But yeah, so like things like that, So I mean, but like it's good to hear that they're like still keeping up with original programming and story stuff, and that's cool though. I'm glad that you.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised at the quality, because like I put it on because I always try to watch something while I edit, and try to put on something that's not like I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's from like trash to like okay, just something to put on in the background, and that's what Scream was supposed to be. And I still did that, but I was surprised how invested, how much I paid attention to Scream, and I was more invested than I thought it would be, and like I thought it was gonna be a garbage show from what I remember that one episode. But it's actually not that bad. Like in some ways, it's kind of clever. But it still has a lot of the tropes where, you go like, oh, this character's so stupid, or like, why don't the police do this? You could argue that's just like, it's adding to like, that's what horror movies do, and so they're doing that too, but I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised that I actually kind of cared, and just also the fact that it's MTV, I was impressed by like how the show looks itself. Like, it doesn't look cheap. Like, you feel that they're in this school, and you feel that they're in these places. where like a lot of other shows, you go, okay, this is like clearly a set.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I felt that there was actual kind of money behind it and some form of effort behind it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched this show Awkward, which is like a high school kind of teen dramedy, and I was genuinely surprised at how good that was. I only saw like half a season when it was on TV, but I was like, wow, this is like better than what's on, I don't know, like Channel 2 or Channel 4 in terms of like this type of show. And like there was season 2, there was like the last episode, then they had like an hour 20-minute finale, which that surprised me. It's like, wow, a lot of shows don't do that, but they did it. And I was surprised. Like I told you, like it has its faults, and I like, oh, this character's really stupid, or this thing is really stupid. But when they have like a certain character moments in this finale, I felt it actually kind of hit me a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I see you, Scream, not bad, okay.
But and that's good.
Yeah, but also what I'm shocked, which I'm really interested how this happened, because so I think it's kind of a reference to the movies, because Scream 1, there's the villain, then Scream 2, it's related to the first villain, and they set it up where the first season it has its main villain, but then at the last episode they say, oh, by the way, there's one more surprise I have for you. But before they can say it, that character dies. And so you go, okay, that's an organic way to have season 2. Like, who were they working with?
It's also very funny because that's a lot of horror movies kind of do that too, where it's like the real killer is and then they get like shot or something. That's funny. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, that's actually clever. I like that.
kind of a reference to the first movie, even the second one. And so okay, because I always like to see, like, I remember thinking, okay, well, it's a horror show with like 5 or 6 main characters. How do they excuse having another season? And so I said, okay, it makes sense why there's a season 2. And then season 2 happened, and I go, okay, well, I know there's a season 3 because it said a new season was put on Netflix. So how are they doing that? And they do set up, they definitely set up in the finale like how there could be a season 3. And in my head, I think I know how that would play out. But they have a cliffhanger for season 3 saying, oh shoot, like there's like, it feels like that would be the finale of the show. Like there's one more season, there's like one more thing to find out. And you go, okay, sounds cool. But then season 3, surprisingly, is with completely different characters. Like from what I've seen, I don't think it's even in the same town. I think it just follows a completely different killer, completely different like new cast. And I was like, well, like, I don't know if it's been confirmed for season 4 or not, but I can see like, oh, season 4 we're going back to like the old cast or whatever. But I was pleasantly surprised, like, wow, they said, okay, the first 2 seasons, that was like the story we made. That's the story we wanted to tell. Now let's make season 3 with brand new characters. It's like, you know what? Not bad. Okay. You know what? It's not like new or anything. But compared to like, I'm trying to remember. I don't know. Shows that go on for like 5-6 seasons forever.
Yeah.
Which I thought this show was going to do, but it surprised me a little bit.
You sound genuinely impressed with this.
I'm genuinely impressed. I think it might just be, hey, I thought the show was going to be garbage, and it was better than I expected. That's probably a lot of it. But I was like, wow, like, they made decisions I thought they wouldn't do. You know what? Good for you. You get a participation award. Good for you. You did it.
Well, that's good, man. I always like getting those surprises where it's, you click on something on Netflix or Hulu or, on TV and you're just like, oh, it's actually a lot better than I thought. I've had a few of those, but nothing insane overall.
I mean, I've been watching, well, not recently, but like How to Get Away with Murder also is a show to put on in the background.
That good?
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
I would say like season 1's okay. Season 2, okay, season 1 is not bad. I was like, this is kind of decent, not bad. Season 2, it's like it does what season 1 did, but like crazier and like more often. and like it definitely tries to step itself up, and that makes it more ridiculous. And I'm like, oh boy, like okay.
Yeah.
And in season 3, I think that I stopped at mid season 3. That's where it tries to do things a little different and kind of restep or bring up a new status quo, which is kind of cool. But from what I hear, like after season 3, it gets like really bad. So
like Riverdale, bad, and
I guess so.
That's an ABC show, correct?
Yeah,
that makes sense. ABC shows after a certain point, ABC shows just start like, oh crap, like we got to do something because from what I understand, I guess the guys, because I heard about this to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent, but also somewhat related. I guess the guys from Lost like planned for like the show to end in season 3, but ABC was like, yeah, we'll let you end the show after like 6 more seasons, and they're like, oh, you guys, so I think I don't know. My money is on ABC's. Just like, I mean, shoot, Modern Family has like 86 seasons or something. It's not really, but like,
it's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, and so I think most of that is maybe to blame on ABC, because like most of the time writers are just like, I planned for this much, but when I run out of plan, I don't know what to do, so they just kind of write something, and then someone's like, genius, it's great, and they're like, wait, no, I'm not done, and then they just make it, and it's not working. So I don't know, maybe I think it might be ABC's fault, because ABC's kind of sucks.
Well, that's just how network television works. It sells, and they just want to make more of it.
Yeah, when they find something that works, let's just keep pumping it full. Let's just keep doing it.
Yeah, like I told you it was Supernatural. You've heard me and Elijah talk about it.
Oh my god, yes! Holy crap! My dad watched Supernatural, and I'm sitting there, seeing a clip or two, and I'm like, holy crap, show's still going.
Yeah, I know, but like just watching it, you can clearly tell they had I think season 1 through 5. That's clearly like the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
But then the network was like, okay, well, this is one of our most popular shows. Keep it going, and I think it's on its last season finally. But because I think even the main like creator, I think he left the show after season 5.
Yeah, you know what? I heard that. You're right.
Because that was the story he wanted to tell, and from what I've heard, I stopped watching like 2 seasons after the finale, or season 5, I mean, because that was when it ended for me. But apparently, for like the next 2-3 seasons after, it was like stumbling, trying to find its footing, because they had an ending, but then they had to keep going, and they had no idea what to do. And apparently, like after those seasons, it gets better, and they tell a bigger story. But another example where, we wanted to end, but we got to keep going for the views. And then we got to do crossovers with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, what the heck?
I actually kind of wanted to watch that episode, but I couldn't. Like, for the life of me, just out of respect for myself.
So weird.
Bringing it back, like compared to how to Get Away with Murder, Scream was better than that. So
dang, okay.
Take that what you will.
Because I've heard some pretty hype praise for How to Get Away with Murder, like season 1 and 2 and stuff like that. Like people really, but I don't know if that's true. Maybe I'm just
since I'm on the topic, like season 1, it shows you in the beginning the death that happens, and then it goes 6 months later, and then I think like every episode in the beginning it shows like a little snippet. So like, she like this. Some bodies in the car, right? First episode, as an example. Oh, how did we get here then? 6 months later, characters are introduced. Next episode, they're bringing the body to the woods, and they're freaking out. Third episode, in the beginning, they're burying the body. So they'll show you snippets, like it keeps going, but then they always bring it back, like 4 months earlier, 3 months earlier. And they get closer to the reveal of who's dead and how it happened. But season 2 does it like to a more grand scale, where season 1 doesn't like lie to you. It's like it just hides who was killed. Season 2 like actively lies to you.
Oh,
like it has the snippets of like who died and how they're trying to cover it up, but they show them out of order.
Oh,
they showed the snippets out of order. So like, these characters are trying to leave the house. Like 2 characters are trying to leave the house, but then, 2 characters trying to leave the house, but then there's 2 other characters, and one of them is holding a gun, and they go like, "Yo, we gotta stop them from leaving the house, no matter what." And he's holding the gun, and so you're like, "Oh, he's gonna try to shoot them or something." I don't, intrigue, I guess.
Yeah.
But you find out that was like after, or that was after they like had another plan or something. So like the character, you thought they were trying to escape to tell the feds, but I think they were trying to escape the house to like help cover it up or something. And so the line about trying to not get them to leave was about something else.
Oh,
it was taken. I'm not explaining it well because like the show is really confusing how it does it.
No.
Remember?
You actually explained it fine to the point where it actually sounds frustrating. Like,
okay, yeah. So it's like, I can't remember exactly, but things are taken out of context where you think, oh, these characters did this and they want to do this, but it's like, no, they're actually trying to do this once you find out what happens. And it's like, oh, okay, you just lied to me. That's cool. And then,
I don't know,
like the actions the characters take, and like the twists, I guess, to keep you coming next week, they're bigger, and it made me laugh more. Like season 1, I was like, okay, this is silly, but I can kind of take it seriously. But season 2 was like, okay, this is whack. This is whack. And then I think like season 3, they bring it back down a bit, because that's season 1 and 2 are more connected, kind of, I guess. But season 3 is like, okay, we're trying to bring the characters back to a certain degree, focus on this kind of story. But still, it's okay, I guess. Yeah. Season 2, I was like, season 2, what are you doing, man? You had me, but then just, ugh.
Dang, man, dang.
It's better than I thought it would be again.
Oh, murder? How to Get Away with Murder?
Yeah, murder, yeah.
That's good.
Like, I was kind of impressed by this kind of show that you need to watch, like, week to week on an ABC kind of show.
Yeah.
But still, it was fine. Scream is better. I would recommend Scream more. Again, it's not the greatest show ever, but it is better.
It's good enough, though.
Yeah, it's good enough.
That's good. Hey, that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shoot.
I'm glad I could share my thoughts on How to Get Away with Murder. Season 2 was crazy. Like, not in a good way either. It's like, again, like, they took the tropes that they did in season 1. Like, this is what the show is. Okay, now let's do more. Let's do it bigger, though. Let's do it more often, too. It's like, wow, okay. That's cool.
Dang.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah. Man, I haven't watched a network television show in a long time. It's been, I think the last one probably was like The Flash or The Arrow or something.
It's hard to watch TV, to be honest. Like, finding a show, even a movie, to be honest. It's hard. That's why right now I'm playing just like games, so.
Yeah. Games are great.
Yeah.
Man, I love video games. I don't know. I think it also kind of sucks because a lot of networks don't, like, specifically Cartoon Network. Like, Cartoon Network has a lot of cool shows. Like, I'm a huge animation guy. So, we both are. But, like, so, like, when Disney, like, Amphibia looks pretty cool on Disney Channel and I want to watch it. But I don't want to sit there and watch, like, Dog with a Blog to get to frickin' Amphibia. Like, just tell me when the episode's gonna be on so I can actually watch, the good stuff. And then the same goes, and then Nickelodeon is a train wreck now, where they don't have any new shows. It's just either a Loud House spinoff, which is, I mean, okay, but why? Or SpongeBob.
Oh, what spinoff?
Loud House. They're doing a Loud House spinoff.
Oh, okay.
It's with, I don't know. I actually don't know the story. I think it's his neighbor. I've never seen an episode of The Loud House, so I can't say anything about it. But I think it's his neighbor who also happens to have a very large family, but this one is Hispanic. So, I have no opinion, but like off the bat, like really, that's it. That's the difference. And instead of a girl, instead of a boy being the main character, I think it's a girl. And is she? I don't know. That's it. All I know is that she's Hispanic and the family's large and it's funny. But I'd watch these shows more, specifically Cartoon Network. Like Cartoon Network, tell me when your shows are coming on. For the love of God, I want to watch them. I want to watch your stuff. You know, I want to watch the newest. Well, OKKO is over, but like, you know, I want to watch the newest stuff. But they never have it on. It's always Teen Titans Go, and for Nickelodeon, it's always SpongeBob. And then
the schedule we saw, it was like 80% Teen Titans with sometimes Steven Universe.
Yeah. And then for Disney Channel, it's just like, oh, well, we just have a bunch of live action stuff that you won't like unless you're frickin' 7 or something.
We were all 7 once, Blake.
Yeah.
We were all 7 once.
Yeah, and I have 2 words for you, Drake and Josh.
Then don't watch Disney Channel.
I didn't watch Disney Channel.
Oh, wow. I guess that explains a lot.
But like Disney Channel still has good stuff. Like Gravity Falls was amazing. Star Wars The Force of Evil was great. Like frickin' Amphibia looks really cool.
I heard the Tangled show is really good.
Yeah, I actually hear that too, and I want to watch that. But what is it on?
Really I do want to watch that. I don't know either. I want to watch it, but I don't know where it is.
Is it on Disney XD? Of course it's not on Disney XD. Nothing's on Disney XD. They don't put anything on Disney XD. What is Disney XD? Like, what is it now? Nothing. It's trash land. But Disney Channel is like, I have to get through like 5 hours worth of teen programming just to get to one episode of these cool shows that like sound really fun, but I can't watch them. Like, screw you guys. Make a platform for me. Although actually, while we're on the subject of Disney, Disney Plus actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, my brother told me this. I don't know if this is true, but now don't tell anybody I told you this. But apparently, they are going to have every single Spider-Man show on Disney Plus. Do you know what this means?
Ultimate Spider-Man?
Spectacular Spider-Man.
That's a Sony show. I don't think they would have that.
I don't know. That's what he said.
I don't think so.
If they don't have it, then I don't care.
I think they would have. No, I think that's a Sony show. I'm pretty sure.
Oh man, that's such a good show. And it doesn't exist anywhere else. I have to buy it like on Blu-ray or something, which I'm not opposed to. But
No, I did, and that was one of the best investments. Because I showed my roommates, and they loved it. So I was like, "Yes,
such a good show." I need to buy that.
No, that's a Sony show, so I don't think.
I know. I just want to believe. I don't care about the Mandalorian. Just get back to making Spectacular Spider-Man, please.
Maybe one day.
No, I don't think it'll ever come back.
If Samurai Jack can come back, I can see this coming back.
Yeah, but Samurai Jack had like a lot bigger following, and it didn't involve a character that was split up between 2 companies and things like that. So I just don't see it. And besides, they're making Spider-Man shows now. They're making that.
If Hey Arnold can come back, Spectacular Spider-Man can come back.
That's the same thing. And besides, Hey Arnold was a movie. Same with Invader Zim.
Shut up.
They're movies, and they're based on nostalgic properties. Spider-Man's not nostalgic anymore.
Spectacular Spider-Man is a nostalgic property.
Not
How
anymore. They're still making
Yes, it
Spider-Man.
is. How dare you? Oh, no. If Scooby-Doo can come back, Spectacular Spider-Man can come back.
Scooby-Doo comes out with a new movie
No
every
new
year.
Scooby-Doo shows were made for 20 years, or 15 to 20 years, Blake.
Yeah, they did.
Back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, no,
it wasn't.
Of course.
Aha! And that came back.
Yeah, but then they came back and they brought it with, like, what's new Scooby-Doo, and then they were like, oh, that's great, let's do Mystery Incorporated, which is awesome. Mystery Incorporated's great. And then they did Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which is terrible. I've never seen
It
worse.
didn't last that long. It's a new show is better. A new show has replaced it, so it's fine.
I mean, so who sat there and was all like, "Yo, these look like great character
It's
designs"?
fine.
No, it's
It
not.
didn't last. It didn't last very long.
I
No,
know,
I didn't
but I
see
want to
it, but it
complain
didn't last
about
very
it.
long.
I want to complain about it.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways, but no, but
It can come back.
it's not coming back.
You gotta believe, Blake. You gotta
I'm trying.
believe.
Yeah, John, you have to believe. You have to understand. I'm a Star Fox fan. And you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with Spider-Man?
You got Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, and I'll never get another Star Fox game ever again.
Star Fox is in Starlinks. He's in Starlinks.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's in another game. It's so bad that they had to put him in a freaking Ubisoft game. Like, I'll never get another Star Fox game now.
Star Fox Zero came out a few years ago, Blake.
Unless
Spectacular Spider-Man, it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah, but they're still making that terrible Disney XD Spider-Man where.
No, shut up. We don't talk about that.
Have you seen that?
No, but I saw like I don't even know.
I've heard it's.
I saw a tiny. I don't know if it was the first episode or like a preview. It's the parts I've seen are so bad.
Yeah,
they're so bad. They did Spider Island within the first season. How do you do that?
Yeah, no, that's weird.
I think they did Venom and Spider Island within the first season.
You can't do that. Spider Island is like one of the most complicated storylines in Spider-Man history.
Well, they did it. They did it at the end of season 1, and then I think right now, which is season 2, I think, or they did it in season 2. Can't remember. They did Superior Spider-Man.
They did Superior Spider-Man?
Yes, I think it was the second season, if I remember. I will look it up right now. I remember hearing they did Superior Spider-Man.
What?
It's like, can you guys please wait? Can you guys please just hold off on... Aside from this being a terrible show, hold on to your plot lines, please. You only have a certain amount of them. Don't just throw them out.
Oh my gosh, what the heck is going on over there? Who's making this show?
Superior Spider... This is from September 4th. Superior Spider-Man makes animated debut in Marvel Spider-Man Season 2 promo.
What? Why are they doing... This is a kid's show. Why are they doing, like, the most complicated, like, dark story?
Not that complicated.
Superior Spider-Man?
Yeah,
no, it's not that complicated, but it's pretty dark. Like, I mean, they didn't do it.
They're not going to make it that
They're
dark.
not going to freaking make it so that Peter Parker dies in Doc Ock's body.
Yeah, they're not going to make it that
That's...
dark.
By the way, I saw that, and I was like, dude, that's... What the heck? Like, that's messed up. That's so mean. Like...
They did Miles Morales already, and like,
yeah, but that's what I heard. I heard I heard every single supporting character is in some fashion related to Spider-Man. Like every single one. If they're not related to Spider-Man, then they are someone. Like I heard the Miles Morales is in it, but then I also know that one of the girls is Silk or something, or Spider Girl.
Oh yeah, no, I heard that.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, why? Just can we? It's called Spider-Man. The show's called Spider-Man. Like, are we talking about what's going on here? Like, so I mean,
every Spider-Man show does Venom. Everyone, does Green Goblin.
Yeah.
There's their staples that you have to do
with varying degrees of freaking quality.
You gotta pace it, man. You gotta pace it.
Spectacular
Spider-Man, it paced it so well. It knew when to pace certain plot lines. Don't just throw in Spider Island into the end of the first season.
I want my show back. I want it back so badly. Young Justice came. To be fair, Young Justice came back.
I was trying to think of another show that came back. Young Justice came back.
But did anybody really?
Justice.
But to be fair,
yes.
No, not did anybody want it. I'm talking about Young Justice. Have you seen a little bit of it? It's changed. It's changed a lot.
First, no, I haven't. But also, I hear everybody says it's okay.
It's depressing. Like some of the stuff
really?
I do is like so sad. Like it. So like.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but I hear it gets. Like, I hear it's really dark.
It is.
Like not like, oh man, this is the tone we're setting. Like it's like, no, boom, we're just throwing dark shit in there.
Yeah, no, actually, like there's drugs, there's like literal actual impalement and like horrifying murder and
what?
Sexual jokes and it's rough. And like even beyond that though, it's depressing. Like, if you're a superhero, you are not allowed in this universe to have a happy ending. You just can't. It's impossible. I'm sorry. You signed up for the wrong team. Like, frickin', because, like, there's, okay, so I'm going to spoil some stuff, but,
all right.
So there's this
Spoilers for Young Justice, Season 3, Outsiders.
So, from what I understand, Artemis is falling in love with the clone of Roy Harper.
Yeah, I saw
Red
that.
Arrow, right?
Uh-huh.
So they kiss on Valentine's Day, but she's still like not over Wally. So she's like all upset. So she goes to Zatanna and is like, "Yo, if you don't send me to go talk to him, then I'm gonna make a deal with like the devil or something like that, some guy." And then she's like, "Okay, fine." So she goes to like this limbo place and she meets Wally there and they have like a perfect life. But then Wally's like, "No, you need to go back to the place of living." It's a nice little like emotional moment, right? She gets out and it turns out that like behind her back, behind Artemis's back, you have like Zatanna was all like, "Oh no, we didn't actually do that. We just made her believe that she did." So like Zatanna made like a fake place, and then Miss Martian.
I remember
what the
that.
frick?
I did see that.
That's so mean. Like, why? That's so rude. Like, I just no, but like that's like
no. I just love the way you say that's so rude.
That is like that's so rude though. Like, oh my gosh, like they're your friends. Like that's terrible. Like, that's so terrible to do. Like,
does Nightwing die?
I don't know. No, he gets
infected.
Yeah, he gets infected with some horrible, because it all deals with the New Gods, which is like dark side stuff and all of their confusing stuff. Oh god, all their confusing stuff. And and like there's I don't know. From what I understand about the story, you got the Light, which is like a group of really big bad guys. And I guess they work with Darkseid, which is ironic, considering they're called the Light, and they work with a guy who's dark is his name. They're, like, mutating, or, like, they're enhancing super genes in kids, which is kind of like a mutant thing. They're turning them into, like, these horrifying monsters, and then, yeah, they die. Like, these kids are killed. So, like, there's child kidnapping, human trafficking, experimentation, and then there's murder of these children. Yes, I know.
Oh my god.
And at the same time, you got, like, all the OG heroes from this old show that are, like, you know, they're struggling. They're, you know, like, they're still not over Wally, and, like, they're dealing with this stuff. And then Batman takes a group of, like, Batman leaves the Justice League and then takes a bunch of kids and people with him, like, horribly disrupting a ton of relationships, like, not Jason Todd. Tim Drake, Robin.
Yeah.
He was dating Wonder Girl, and then he leaves the Justice League, and they break up. But it's all undercover work. Like they're not part of the Justice League anymore. They're doing it under the table, but they still are part of the league. But they're not. It's horrible and stupid, and I don't like why. Like why is everybody like? That's the thing. It's like why does there have to be so much sadness in DC stuff? I'm sorry, we're not going back to DC, but like, god dang it, this show is so sad. I don't want to watch it. Like. What I loved about season 1 of Young Justice was, like, the relationships and it was funny, you know? Like, Wally West didn't like Artemis. They didn't like each other, but then they started dating, and like, oh, that's cute, you know? And then season 2 is like, no, everybody dies. Shut up. You want to have a happy ending?
Just
no,
a few
you don't
people
get...
die. Just a few people.
Yeah, no. Oh, poor Aqualad. Oh my god, that kid. Not only is his dad Black Manta, but his girlfriend gets murdered. And then, shoot, man, and then he gets put undercover, and then, god dang,
Season
and then
2 is
Wally
still
dies.
very good. Season 2 is still
season
very
2
good.
is still really good, but it's a downer. And then season 3, oh my god, season 3 just says, you want happiness? Go watch Marvel, you little freaking wuss.
Oh man, I've been hearing a lot of people go, this is interesting. I don't. This is okay.
It's I just I like my hardcore action shows, but man, I don't want like my characters to like, you know, manipulate my other their friends. Like that's so like it's just
but
so mean.
At the time, we didn't before we knew all that. we were all like, "Yo, when's season 3 coming out? We want season 3."
Yeah, no, because I thought season 3 was gonna be like, you know, a little bit more of season 2. Like, but I didn't think they were gonna freaking like murder children and like, you know, like human trafficking and there's a character who dies in an insanely gruesome way every time, and
so funny.
Like, why? Like, I don't know. The season ends with Lobo, like, I kid you not, the season ends with a post-credit scene of Lobo killing a baby version of himself by stepping on it. I kid you not. Look this up. He steps on a baby version of itself, and I'm like, what? Like, I get that you guys are on DC Nation now. Y'all can be all hardcore and stuff like that. But, dude, that is not why I like Young Justice. Like, I didn't like it because of this stuff. I just liked it because it was a fun, like, action-adventure cartoon with some stakes. And no, now it's all crazy and everybody's getting killed and shot and kissing each other and what the heck's going on? Like, it's just so weird. What happened to you, Young Justice? What happened? Like, but that's the thing, is like, I just wanted like Teen Titans back. Like, and this is what I got. I was like, guys, no. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe season 4, because I guess they're making season 4. Maybe season 4 will be... Yeah, no, I'm glad it's still around. I'm not, like, mad at it for coming back. I just think it's, like, it came back and did things that, like, I didn't want it to do. Like, don't touch me. Like, I just feel weird now. Like, I didn't want children to die. Like, I get you... I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, maybe season 4. I guess season 4 is going to do... I think it's, like, the Legion of Superheroes, which is, like, the future people. Like, future Brainiac... all the weird guys. I guess they're gonna be done. I think, I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, I mean, it could be really cool. Could be, you know. But anyway, Spectacular Spider-Man needs to come back because that show was tonally perfect and just almost perfect in every. Actually, no, it was perfect in every way.
That show needs to come back. Motor City needs to come back.
Motor City. Motor City.
Still one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen.
Okay, hold on. So, I need to say this real quick. Okay, so sometimes Disney clips will pop into my recommended feed, right? Like straight from Disney's like YouTube channels, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So one show that I particularly liked was Tron.
They're gonna say
Tron
Fish Hooks.
Uprising. Yeah, no, Fish Hooks. Fish Hooks got its ending.
Oh, okay.
Tron Uprising. It was a pretty cool, stylized 3D show about Tron that was way better than the movie. And the movie's pretty cool. Like, the movie's not amazing.
How dare you?
Hey. I like the movie. Hey.
Whoa.
Tron Legacy's a good movie.
Why are we attacking Tron right now? Whoa.
I'm not. I like Tron.
You said way better.
It is.
Tron
it's that
Legacy
good.
Is amazing.
Tron Legacy is great.
It's amazing.
Is it?
Yes.
It's good.
No, it's amazing. It's better than Tron Uprising, whatever this garbage show you're talking about. Hype. Whatever this garbage show you're watching.
Anyways.
Go on.
So to continue. So, Disney has been lately... So in my recommended feed, though, I've been seeing clips of Tron Uprising. I'm like, oh, cool, someone still remembers it. And then I look at who uploaded it. It was Disney themselves. Okay, cool. All right, well, they probably uploaded this a long time ago. I look at the date it was uploaded. 5 days ago. Oh, shoot. They're bringing it back. No, they're not. But I want them to. Because I like that show, and it never got an ending. That show was great. But Motor City, frick. I have never seen such beautiful animation from an American television.
I know. Oh, that's why it hurts so much.
That studio. Do you know that studio was going to do Deadpool?
I probably heard that, but
yeah, they were one of
very similar.
They were one. So here's the problem though. They were one of them. And I think it was FX who was going to do the Deadpool show. That's never coming out.
Yeah.
FX, who was going to do the Deadpool show, contracted like a couple of different animation studios to like make a piece and show them what they got. And Titmouse, which is the studio that did Motor City, was one of them. They did not get picked. Guess who did?
Wait. Marvel?
Yeah, the guys who made Spiderman.
Yeah. No, I mean like the I don't know.
No. The studio that made Archer.
Spider-Man. Oh, right.
So, I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, Archer's a completely different show, but I'm talking animation quality. Like,
I know.
No,
it looks so good, dude.
No. Like,
it looks so good.
Disney, again, tell me when your shows are on. God dang it. We could have saved Motor City, man. We could have saved it.
Okay.
But then they bought Star Wars, and then they were just like, oh, well, screw every other show we have. Let's just make Star Wars. And Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, well. On that sad note, we should end this episode.
Yeah, no. We've talked on for too long. But anyways, let's talk about DC. I'm kidding.
No, never.
No. So DC Nation. No, I'm kidding. I don't care. Let's just end this now before we get more depressed about Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh, come on, man.
Well, on that note, we are finally back with the podcast. It's episode 4, I think, right? 3, 4.
Yeah, this is 4.
I think this is 4. Well, sorry everybody for the long wait between episode 3 and 4, and just the content in general. But we're hopefully gonna try to get back on a. We haven't solidified the schedule yet, but we're gonna try to come back with more continuous content.
Yeah.
With less breaks in between, but we're gonna try to start with this episode podcast. Hopefully from now on we can try to come up with more consistent content for you guys. We really appreciate it. In terms of any things that we want to talk about, at least for me, I've been currently streaming on Twitch as of this recording for at least like a week. Either as of when this comes out, I will either be on Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil 1. I'm currently going through all the Resident Evil games, see what the hype's about. It's a fun time. Or do the main series, like the main numbered games right now. So that'll be fun, for the month of Halloween. It's been going pretty well, I think. What about you, Blake?
I'm watching you stream. That's about it.
Would you recommend it to the viewers?
Yes, I've had a great time watching you play through these games. It's actually really fun.
All right, There you go. Well, we've been doing that. That's really all I have to mention. We're, trying to figure things out for the channel, what we're gonna put on there, and everything on top of what we're working on already. But yeah, Blake, did you have anything to say to the viewers?
If anyone out there is listening who has the power and the means, please bring back Spectacular Spider-Man. With all the voice acting and animation and character designers, because that show looks and sounds great. Josh Keaton as Spider-Man is still ingrained in my mind, and I can never let that go. So, please, bring him home to me. Spider-Man Homecoming, the true one. Spectacular Spider-Man Homecoming. That's it.
Alright, well, so this, as you guys could tell, this podcast is more just trying to reintroduce us back into the groove of things. There really wasn't a, what do you call it? Structure? Yeah, sorry. Structure to this one, just kind of talk about what we're interested in and all that. But hopefully next week, try to bring back a bit more structure if we can. It's been a bit of a slow news season as of late. But yeah, we're going to try to get more content to you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we will hopefully bring some more content to you guys soon. So thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.